It's a fabulous neighborhood.
In your neighborhood.
Look, new neighbors.
Oh, is that a fraternity?
I think they'll like us.
We're hip, we're cool.
Yeah. Wicca, what's up?
Hello, welcome to What the Flick. Christy, Alonso, and our special guest star, my fellow SMU grad, Robert Abele. We all lived in Dallas, but not at the same time. But you guys did.
Well, yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's where we were.
I never lived there when you guys were there. But anyway, Snuffers cheese fries. We've all had them. We're talking about Neighbors, Zac Efron and Seth Rogen together at last. Describe it, please.
Okay, so Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne, who gets to use her Australian accent for once, are young marrieds with a baby. They have a house. Everything seems nifty, although she's a little bored at home and he gets stoned at work. And then one day they get new neighbors and it's a frat and they are worried that the parties are going to keep their baby up. And at first they hang out and show how cool they are and they're the cool parents. And then the noise keeps coming and then war breaks out. Check it out.
What do you got there, sweetie? Is that a balloon? That's not a balloon! Oh, Jesus! It's an expensive bush.
I'm sorry, I felt inspiration.
I'm about to rip it out of the ground. Ah!
Use the hips, it'll come easier.
Come on!
There it is.
They underestimated us. I don't want to take the gloves off, but I'm going to take them off.
It's interesting. I have been both of these people, right? I have been the drunk sorority girl, and I have been the new mom trying to get sleep. And there are definitely some nuggets of truth here in that you reach a point where you want responsibility, right? You're ready for it, but you don't want to become lame. You don't want to get boring. You still want to have fun and
you
go.
don't want to be the black socks and shorts guy.
Yeah. And so I totally get where they're coming from with this. I laughed. It's just, it feels very episodic to me and doesn't like increase in, I don't know, anger, tone, tension, something. It feels like, here's a crappy thing they do to each other, and then they respond, and I don't know. You loved it, though, it sounds like.
I did. I mean, we've been talking before how it's not, this is the kind of movie where the setup is so great that it should be more of a kind of a clockwork thing where things escalate and things get worse, and that, you take this amazing premise and sort of build a really tight script around it, and they don't. It is loose, and it is kind of shaggy, and it does sort of shamble along from thing to thing, but I laughed so consistently throughout that I forgave the fact that it wasn't this other kind of movie that I would have liked it to be, and went with the kind of movie that it was that I liked.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and my feeling is, and this was kind of a turning point comedy for me, because I do think Seth Rogen is very funny, and I think Nick Stoller is a very funny, comedy writer director. But this movie it's got to the point now where the ad-libbed movie is really starting to like wear on me, and I just feel like this is one of those cases where you have this great premise, and when you have this great premise and you have really solid characters built up in the beginning, honor that by writing something that shows that you've cared enough about it to build it like that. And I think these movies now they ramp up, in the comic situations, and then they stop dead so that two actors can like riff on a topic for like a minute and just tell jokes back and forth and show that they're really smart on their feet. And that was fine. It's fine when you make a movie it's totally silly like an Anchorman, but like when you have a really good premise and a really good conflict, like a good dramatic conflict, weirdly enough. Pay more attention before you start shooting. I mean, just don't, and because this movie would just come to dead stop so that two people could like riff,
on Batman,
on Batman, whatever like that. And I'm just like, no, give these characters their due and like take this all the way.
And I think there's a balance, I mean, you have a movie like Bridesmaids, say, which I think is very much structured, and then you get to stop and have like Wendy McClendon-Covey come up with things, grotesque things that her house smells like because she's got 3 teen boys. It smells like somebody, came in a bag of Fritos and set it on fire or whatever. And then get back to the story. But you're right. I mean, this one, there are a lot of times where it's just like, we're just going to roll with this for a while and see what happens.
Yeah, in the case of
but
Bridesmaids,
I laughed, so I didn't,
You knew that you were in good hands with Bridesmaids. You had a really interesting story going on. So when Bridesmaids would have those moments, and also just the unusualness of getting to see women get to be funny in a movie like that. That was, I liked when Rose Byrne got to be funny in this movie. She has her great moment was going and getting the setting up the infidelity.
Right.
It's downright Shakespearean.
Yeah.
The way she manipulates them all.
That was really good, and I was really happy whenever Rose Byrne got a great moment.
because that's in movies like this, we're so used to the wife being the dullard and the voice of reason,
or not being the true partner in a marriage.
Talk about that. Like they actually make a joke about like this isn't you're not Kevin James and I'm not Kevin James's wife. You know.
Right.
She gets to be as much of a diabolical force as he is, and have some fun with it too. And if she wants to go and get drunk and party with the drunk sorority girls too, I appreciate that.
Because she's you know they touch on, they don't make a big deal of it, but like you know he goes off to work and he complains about going to work and she's like, can I go with you? I'm at home with this baby all day, you know, and my breasts hurt, and it's just one thing after another. So at first there's that promise of excitement of like, yeah, I've still got it, you know, even though the college kids are all kind of like, well, let's be nice to the old neighbors because they're old,
I
you
think
know.
you need sleep. I gotta say, the scene where her boobs get engorged, that actually happens. And there's a way to help that they don't do. You get diapers wet. And you put them in the microwave, and you put them on the sides of your boobs, and it gets all the hard nuggets of milk softened, and then you can pump it out.
And knowing is half the battle.
You learn something new every day.
And I have to say also, I like Zac Efron in this. I think he's chosen some really varied and kind of smart roles to distance himself from being pretty boy, High School Musical guy. But this is the first one I feel like that really lands. I mean, I admired Paperboy?
I admired the idea of him doing Paperboy more than I admired what he actually gets to do in Paperboy. This movie, I kind of felt like he is taking the piss out of his image in a lot of ways, and sort of, you know, turning the kind of like handsome stud that he is into sort of weird, creepy, like frat man boy, you know. But not, I mean, not creepy, but at least
he's stunted.
Exactly, like you know, an Arrested Development situation. You know,
no, there's a frat boy stereotype that you often see in movies, and he is not doing that, which I appreciated.
Yeah, you know, and strange moments of, you know, there's a moment where he is unexpectedly compassionate towards a pledge, you know, that's very funny and very sharp, and he plays it really well, and the movie, I mean, this really comes home towards the end, but throughout the film, it's almost like his body is so perfect it's a sight gag, and Seth Rogen's body is so Seth Rogen that it's a sight gag, and they indulge in both of those a lot.
Outside the Abercrombie and Fitch at the Universal City Walk.
I thought I recognized that.
Yes, that's where it was.
Okay.
So I'm mixed on it. I'm giving it like a 5.8. I mean, I like individual things about it, but I didn't laugh that much. I don't know.
Yeah, so I didn't laugh that much either, which is why
I wanted to laugh my ass off. And that didn't happen.
Right, because I think even beyond that, I think some of the gags like felt like, you know, now we're going to give you the gag where we push the envelope. I mean, it's sometimes, you know, sometimes you don't want to sense that the filmmakers are going to push the envelope with a gag. You want a gag to just be a gag, and then if you're laughing uproariously because you can't believe they did that, that's great. But this movie, some of the, you know, penis jokes were just very like, now we're gonna show you a penis and you're gonna laugh.
I know what you mean about the pushing joke, like what was that stupid Jason Bateman, Ryan Reynolds brain switching movie?
Switch?
Yeah.
No, that's the one with the sperm.
That's anyway, but that's one where the baby's like
change up.
The baby's like shitting and peeing in his face when he's trying to change the diapers. It's like you can just tell they're trying to like make a viral moment, and it's just
shocking.
You know. Yes. This one I didn't feel so much. I did laugh, and so I mean I agree with everything you say about form and content, except that I laughed, and so because I laughed, I gave it an 8.4.
Okay. And you, Robert?
And because really, pretty much, I feel almost like exactly what we do. I'm giving it a 5.9.
Okay, so our average is a 6.7. It's at 87% on the tomato meter. It is very much certified fresh. So.
And it might beat out Amazing Spider-Man 2 this weekend. Maybe.
It'll be close. Bye. Thank you. Bye.